Over the past decade of the global EV revolution, lithium-ion batteries successfully wiped out traditional gas-powered cars, but they still left every EV owner with two ultimate anxieties that haven't been cured to this day. Range anxiety, where you daren't even turn on the heater in winter, and safety anxiety, where a single thermal runaway incident can burn your car to ashes. To eliminate these two pain points once and for all, global automotive giants and top laboratories are pouring hundreds of billions of dollars into a single destination: solid-state batteries known as the ultimate Holy Grail of new energy. Imagine charging for 10 minutes to get over 1,000 kilometers of range, and even if pierced by a nail or shot with a bullet, it never catches fire. Sounds like science fiction? But here in 2026, the capital and technological endgame for solid-state batteries has pushed all the way from laboratories right to the doorstep of mass production lines. Toyota claims it will install all solid-state batteries in vehicles within the next few years. Chinese giants like CATL and BYD are rapidly assembling entire supply chains. Meanwhile, Western unicorns like QuantumScape and Solid Power are sucking up massive funding backed by Volkswagen and BMW. But how much of this is real breakthrough, and how much is just capital hype to grab headlines? From solid-liquid hybrid to all-solid-state, which of the three major routes, sulfide, oxide, or polymer, will rule the future? Welcome to Decoding Everything. Today, we're dedicating a full episode to unpacking the technological reality and global chess match behind solid-state batteries. To understand just how game-changing solid-state batteries are, we first need to look at the physical ceiling of today's liquid lithium-ion batteries. At its core, a conventional lithium battery is a chemical system made of a cathode, an anode, a separator, and a liquid electrolyte. During charging, lithium ions leave the cathode, travel through the liquid electrolyte and separator, and embed into the graphite anode. During discharging, they move in reverse. In this process, the liquid electrolyte acts like a pool for lithium ions to swim in. However, this swimming pool introduces two fatal flaws. First is the ceiling on energy density. Traditional liquid batteries mostly use graphite for the anode, which has a theoretical specific capacity of only 372 mAh per gram. Today's top-tier ultra-high nickel ternary liquid battery cells cap out at around 300 to 350 watt-hours per kilogram, which is already hitting the physical limit of this chemical system. If you want a pure electric SUV to easily hit a range of 1,000 kilometers, the existing liquid battery pack wouldn't just be as heavy as a lead brick. It would also swallow up massive interior cabin space. Second, and most lethal, is the safety curse. The core components of liquid electrolytes are mostly carbonate-based organic solvents. These solvents are extremely flammable with very low flash points. Worse still, during fast charging or repeated cycling, tree-like metal crystals called lithium dendrites easily grow on the surface of the anode. Once a lithium dendrite punctures the electrolyte separator, it causes an internal short circuit between the positive and negative poles, instantaneously releasing immense heat and triggering catastrophic, irreversible thermal runaway fires. Solid-state batteries turn this fundamental logic upside down. They throw away the flammable liquid electrolyte and the fragile plastic separator entirely, replacing them with a non-flammable solid electrolyte. When the swimming pool transforms into solid land, not only is the fire risk cut off at its root, but it also opens the door to entirely new electrode materials. However, turning a liquid electrolyte into a solid is easy to say, but a complete materials science nightmare to execute. Currently, the global scientific and industrial community has split into three main technical pathways: sulfide, oxide, and polymer. Each route has its killer features, but each also suffers from a fatal deal-breaker. The first is the performance powerhouse backed heavily by Japanese giants, the sulfide pathway. The biggest advantage of sulfide solid electrolytes is their exceptionally high ionic conductivity, which can match or even exceed that of liquid electrolytes. This means lithium ions travel through them extremely fast, giving sulfide batteries inherently superior fast-charging capabilities. Additionally, sulfide materials are relatively soft, meaning good solid-to-solid contact can be formed through cold pressing. Listening up to this point, you might think, if the sulfide route backed by Japan is so powerful, isn't Toyota guaranteed to win big? Hold your horses. This next fatal flaw could cause Toyota's hundreds of billions in R&D investments to completely rot away in vain. Sulfide materials are absurdly delicate. The moment they come into contact with even a trace of moisture in the air, they instantly release highly toxic hydrogen sulfide gas. This means the entire manufacturing line must be built inside ultra-dry rooms filled with pure argon gas, and the construction cost of such an environment is insanely astronomical. The second is the safety fortress that Chinese companies excel at navigating, the oxide pathway. Represented by ceramic materials like LLZO, lithium, lanthanum, zirconium oxide, its biggest strength is extreme chemical stability. It resists high temperatures, isn't afraid of air or water, and is completely non-toxic to produce. Many Chinese companies such as Wellian New Energy, Qingtao Energy, and NIO with its featured 150 kilowatt-hour battery pack are taking the oxide route. But oxide has its own harsh drawback. It's too hard, like a ceramic plate. When two rock-hard solids are pressed together, the microscopic interface is full of gaps, causing massive interfacial resistance that makes it extremely difficult for lithium ions to pass through. To solve this, the Chinese supply chain adopted a commercially brilliant compromise: solid-liquid hybrid, semi-solid batteries, which keep 5% to 10% liquid electrolyte inside the oxide structure to wet the interface. The third is the cost king favored early on in Europe, the polymer pathway. Made of polymer matrices like polyethylene oxide, PEO, combined with lithium salts, its advantages are extreme flexibility and ease of processing. It can directly utilize existing liquid battery production lines, making it the cheapest route. France's Bolloré Group commercially applied polymer solid-state batteries on public buses years ago. But the fatal flaw of polymers is abysmal ionic conductivity at room temperature. At a standard 25 degrees Celsius, 77 degrees Fahrenheit, it hardly conducts electricity at all. The battery must be heated to above 60 degrees Celsius, 140 degrees Fahrenheit, just to function properly. This completely locks it out of mainstream passenger EV applications. 3 pathways: 1 toxic and astronomical in cost, 1 hard as ceramic, and 1 paralyzed at room temperature. A final showdown to find the ultimate material is exploding on a global scale. Now that you understand the tech pathways when we evaluate automaker announcements, we must first learn to spot the 3-word games they play when marketing solid-state batteries. Trick number 1: bait and switch, selling semi-solid as all solid-state. Many automakers shout solid-state batteries in production vehicles during launch events, when in reality, the batteries still contain 5% to 10% liquid electrolyte. True all-solid-state means 0 liquid, not a single drop. Trick number 2: applying laboratory coin cell results to mass production cars. Making a fingernail-sized coin cell sample in a lab that cycles a few hundred times isn't that hard. The real ordeal is replicating that performance across a massive battery pack assembled from thousands of large cells that must endure harsh, unpredictable real-world road conditions. Trick number 3: master buzzword creators. Terms like condensed matter, semi-gel, or solid-state hybrid might sound high-tech, but they are essentially transitional compromises on the path from liquid to solid. A massive engineering chasm still separates them from the true ultimate form. If you only swap the liquid electrolyte for a solid one, the gain in energy density is actually pretty modest. The truly terrifying power of solid-state batteries lies in enabling the ultimate form of anode materials. Anode-less designs, or pure metallic lithium anodes. In conventional batteries, the graphite anode acts like a giant rack where lithium ions must insert into graphite's layered structure for storage. Think of it like hauling passengers. Instead of just bringing the passengers, you also have to haul a massive hotel along with them, wasting immense weight and volume. What if we threw that graphite rack away entirely and used pure metallic lithium directly as the anode? Metallic lithium boasts an incredible theoretical specific capacity of 3,860 mAh per gram, a full 10 times that of graphite. Plus, its electrode potential is extremely low. By using a pure metallic lithium anode paired with a high-voltage cathode, cell energy density can directly surge past 500 watt-hours per kilogram, nearly doubling the volumetric energy density. In the liquid battery era, Nobody dared to touch a pure lithium metal anode because metallic lithium is violently reactive. In liquid electrolytes, it quickly sprouts dangerous lithium dendrites that trigger battery explosions. But a tough solid electrolyte acts as a physical mechanical barrier that literally suppresses the growth of lithium dendrites. When solid electrolytes meet pure lithium metal anodes, electric vehicles with a 1,000-kilometer range and drastically reduced battery sizes finally move from chemical theory into reality. If the future is so bright, why can't we buy affordable all-solid-state battery cars right now? Let's do the math first. Mature liquid lithium batteries today have cell production costs down to around $50 to $70 per kilowatt-hour. Meanwhile, prototype all-solid-state cells produced in labs currently cost a staggering $300 to $500 per kilowatt-hour. What does that mean in real terms? For an EV with a 100 kilowatt-hours all-solid-state battery pack, the battery alone would cost $30,000 to $50,000. That's enough money to buy a brand new Tesla Model 3 outright. Until this cost drops significantly, all solid-state batteries will remain exclusive luxury toys for multi-million-dollar hypercars or top-tier flagships. Beyond astronomical costs, bridging the gap from making a coin cell in a lab to mass-producing millions of large EV power cells in a factory requires crossing two massive engineering canyons. First and foremost is interfacial impedance and volumetric expansion. Electrodes expand and contract violently during charging and discharging. Liquid batteries have liquid that continuously flows to fill any microscopic gaps. But once a solid-state battery expands and cracks, the solid-to-solid contact breaks apart, and battery life plummets instantly. To solve this, engineers must apply immense physical pressure, tens or even hundreds of atmospheres inside the battery pack, creating unprecedented structural engineering challenges. Second is the brutal manufacturing environment and abysmal yield rates. Sulfide materials require entire cleanrooms operating under ultra-dry conditions with near-zero moisture and oxygen, costing multiples of traditional battery plants. On top of that, solid electrolyte membranes are paper-thin and extremely brittle. Yield rates for processes like coating and stacking are currently painfully low, keeping production costs sky-high. Understanding these technical and engineering bottlenecks sets the stage for the global industrial chess match. Right now, this battle for future clean energy dominance has formed a clear three-way standoff. Japan, the all-in, all-solid-state gatekeeper. Japan views solid-state batteries as its final trump card to revive its domestic auto industry. Led by Toyota, the Japanese camp skipped all intermediate phases to bet everything on the all-solid-state sulfide pathway, attempting to lock out competitors behind thousands of patents. Toyota loudly declared plans to launch commercial all-solid-state pilots between 2027 and 2028, but its primary obstacle remains lowering exorbitant material manufacturing costs. US and Europe, capital-fueled tech unicorns. Lacking a complete lithium battery supply chain, the US and Europe hope to leapfrog competitors through frontier tech. The US incubated top startups like QuantumScape, Solid Power, and Factorial, backed by automotive titans like Volkswagen, BMW, Mercedes-Benz, and GM. While their technical specs are stunning, most are still fighting through the brutal valley of death, transitioning from lab pilot lines to gigawatt-hour scale factories. China, the pragmatic step-by-step strategy, unlike Japan's all-or-nothing approach, Chinese battery makers leveraged their dominance in the global lithium supply chain to pursue a pragmatic semi-solid first all-solid-state second strategy. Between 2024 and 2026, road testing of vehicles equipped with Oxide semi-solid batteries blossomed across China, with automakers like NIO, IM Motors, and Dongfeng rolling out production vehicles. China's strategy is crystal clear. Use semi-solid batteries first to offset R&D costs and validate solid-solid interface engineering while paving the way for factory breakthroughs in all-solid-state tech in the background. China has also formed a national consortium combining industry, academia, and research to achieve mass production of all solid-state batteries before 2030. Looking at the commercial timeline, 2024 to 2026 is the window for semi-solid batteries to test the waters in high-end vehicles, while true all-solid-state batteries, constrained by cost and manufacturing, will remain exclusive luxuries for hypercars or million-dollar flagship models until 2027 to 2030. with mass market adoption still taking time. Solid-state batteries aren't a magical overnight breakthrough. They are a decades-long war of attrition across materials science and manufacturing engineering. It has never been an optional choice of whether to do it, but a matter of survival over who can cut costs and mass-produce first. Whether it's Japan betting everything on sulfides or China pragmatically advancing both semi-solid and all-solid-state strategies, this is more than a tech battle, it is the ultimate war for global energy hegemony and industrial supremacy. Which automaker do you think will be the first to bring all solid-state battery prices down to earth? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you love deep-dive, hardcore tech breakdowns like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. This is Decoding Everything, helping you make sense of the most hardcore frontier tech. See you next time.